thought I might be chatting to myself. So very relieved to know that Clarissa and Maria and Tony have joined us as well. So give me a little wave if you can hear me. You can unmute your microphone at any point if you want to ask a question. You can type in the chat box as well. If you've got questions that you just want to type in there also. We have had a number of people submit some questions prior to the session today, which is great. I will endeavour to go through all of those and answer those as well, because probably a lot of your questions will be very, very similar. So we have a very exciting program next year that's new for us. I've been running group mentoring programs, I think, for 5 or 6 years now. It's been going on a long time, and it started off with a very small number of groups and small sized groups, and that's just grown exponentially every year. What I found out this year was we had a lot more people who probably were in their first or maybe their second year of practice, and my experience in having them come into our existing group structure was that there were a few gaps for them. It was asking a bit of a stretch for some of them. So I'm going to explain to you today what our normal group mentoring program looks like, and then the points of difference with this new grad model for next year, so you can understand really how they do compare and contrast. So let's start off with that. I'll go into a couple of key questions that everybody seems to have, and then I'll open it up and see if you've got others as well. So as I was saying, the original group mentoring program started 5 or 6 years ago. The way that it is now is we have monthly sessions. We meet every month. It's a set group. So there are usually 11 people in each group, and that group stays fixed. So we put people of a similar experience level in the one group. We meet at the same time every month online. And we meet via a Zoom platform. Okay, so previously we've been using Skype, but now, like today, we will be moving into using Zoom as we transition into 2019. When we have those sessions, they go for usually an hour. We try and stick to time. Sometimes we go a little bit over, but not drastically so. And when we say that it runs at the same time every month, for example, your group might be Monday 10:30. And that would be the last Monday, for example, of every month. And that's it. That's when we meet. So that's kind of some of the logistics around how the sessions run. The other logistical issues are that in between sessions, we have, I can't even remember the fancy term for it, but we have a platform that we use that is quite extraordinary. It's called Basecamp. And Basecamp is where we do all our communicating. So that means that if you've got a question in between sessions that you say, look, I know that you covered this, but, I've got this extra question about this, or, I'm putting out a question to the group. All of that happens in this private room that we all share. And that would just be your group. Okay, so in the current model that we use, that would be you, 10 other people, and myself that see that conversation, share those very targeted resources, etc. And so the Basecamp kind of keeps the continuity going between sessions, and it also is a way for me to keep loading you up with more resources. So if I say, well, we talked about endometriosis in this case, that was really fascinating. Have you seen all this literature on N-acetylcysteine in endometriosis? Here are a couple of key articles, and share all those bits and pieces with you. The original group mentoring platform, so that's our standard group mentoring, the way that the sessions, the content of each session is actually case-based. So how they're run is, the reason we have 11 people in the group is because that gives us 1 month for each person to present a case, because we only run for 11 months of every year. So we run from January to November. So every session would be one case. So you know, and every person in that group would have an opportunity to present a case. And yes, we need an hour to discuss a case because we go through the case from the ground up. What were the questions you asked? What were the questions you didn't ask? Let's have a look at the pathology. Let's have a look at, you know, all of these different aspects and really reframe the case, think about it in terms of how things connect together, where the most important place to start is, what further investigations we need to do, and what treatments we should consider at this point. So that's kind of the existing group mentoring platform in a nutshell. Even though there's one person presenting, there is always opportunity for interaction. So let's say Maria's presenting her case this month and she's talking to me all about her patient Betty. Clarissa, you might be in on that group and you're going, well, you know, did you ask about her sleep? And you're typing that in the text box, or at the end of the session, you're opening up your microphone and you're saying, you know, I didn't understand this connection, or I was thinking I had a different idea about how to interpret that lab. So even though it's one person who really sits in the driver's seat for each session, and they're in communication with me about their case, it is still involving everybody, and it is a group-based discussion, you know, either via the chat box or also opening up our microphones at the end of the session also, and certainly following on in terms of base camp. So that's how normal group mentoring runs, or our standard group mentoring sessions run. What we have put together for 2019 for new graduates, as I said, came out of the recognition that a lot of new graduates are not ready to actually go deep into cases yet. And also, what also came up was a lot of new grads saying, I'm not even sure I've got a case I want to present. Like, I've only been out in practice for 6 months. It might be my mother that I'm talking about, or, you know, I've seen this patient once. I don't have a lot to go on. And so there were all these kind of reasons why it became apparent that we probably needed to do things differently for new graduates. So we needed to de-emphasize that rotating case presentation idea, and we needed to do more of the basic core skill building. Because one of the other things that some of you will know is that my background, I certainly taught at most of the institutions, so Southern Cross University, Endeavour, Southern School, all of those places for years. And I know that the teaching style has really changed. So what's happening is we're seeing some fantastic developments, but we're also seeing the loss of some clinical skills. And we do see that new grads are coming out and they're exceptional in their knowledge about how to do a literature review, or, you know, the pharmacokinetics of a herb, but they're struggling to take all that theory and apply it in a clinical context and be able to talk to a patient and really be very practical about what to do with that patient, where to start, you know, and where to go once they've started. So that was one of the things that really became apparent as well, was that there was this little bit of room for us to come in, because I am very strong in systems-based thinking and teaching. I love mind maps. Maria will tell you all about that. I love mind maps. I love timelines. I love all of those things, because if we know how to take a case really well, and we would build on those skills that you've already learned in your undergraduate, and we know how to analyze it, as I say, a good mind map basically writes the prescription for you, right? And the mind map doesn't just write the first prescription. The mind map sets the agenda for how you're going to manage that patient for the next 6, 12 months. And so, you know, going back to those kind of core skills and saying, well, you know, yes, you took the case, but how does that look in a mind map? How do we translate that into something, and then that become really user-friendly for you as the practitioner in writing your prescription? Okay, so it's those kind of core development skills that I think we're going to really, build on. So just while I keep blabbering on, I'm going to cover a couple of quick things. The logistics. The logistics are very similar. For the new grad group, we're doing the same. We meet at the same time every month from January to November. We meet via Zoom. We still have that fabulous connection in between sessions via Basecamp. The new graduate group will be larger. Okay, so the other groups are capped at 11, as I said, because there's an opportunity for everybody to present a case. In the new graduate group, we are not asking everybody to present a case. So, and we feel that there is strength in numbers. You want a good network. You want a good experience of feeling like there is really 20 other people that you can rely on, and 20 other people that you can go, well, this is where I got with my mind map, but I feel like I'm missing something, and they're speaking exactly the same language as you. So the new graduate group will be larger, and it won't be the same content. So that's the first thing to say. The next thing probably, what will the content look like? And I'm just reaching for notes to make sure I cover everything, because I can't be trusted without notes, I can tell you right now. Okay. And yes, get very used to me moving. This is how it looks in real sessions, but I'm sure Maria will tell you that too. I move around a lot. Okay. So in terms of the content that is going to be covered, the whole idea is not to make it lectures, right? You've done enough lectures. Yawn. We've all been in lectures. They're not necessarily the best way to learn. So the idea is that there will be more of an interactive style tutorial going on. And there will be certain topics, so we will provide you with a curriculum. And the topics include mind maps, because I love them, and you will love them too in the end. So really developing your skills around mind maps. And yes, I will be setting homework. So we'll go through a case and I'll go mind map that for me. Okay. And so when you come back and we compare our mind maps, that, because I've seen this happen before, is where people go, oh, I've got it right, and being able to see how other people frame the case. So remembering that there's no right and wrong, but boy, is there an opportunity to grow when you see how other people, illustrate or pull together the aspects of the case. So we'll be doing work on mind maps. We'll be doing work on screening. So yes, we want to be the best case takers ever. What helps us to be the best case takers ever, and I will be working on some of those areas that probably we need to strengthen up in as a general rule in new graduates. So what are the systems or the areas that tend to get overlooked in case taking? But what helps us to get the best quality information is to know what screening tools to use. So these are things that your patients can fill in before they walk in the door. And we are going to pull and look at, well, somebody's asking their diet record like this. This needs to be filled in before it comes in, before the patient comes in. How does that compare with other ways of thinking? So again, it's this beauty of not everybody acting in isolation, developing their tools, but us working as a collective and saying, well, what's the best we can come up with, right? So that'll involve basic things like, dietary records and family and personal medical health histories and things like that, but also some of the areas that I'm particularly passionate about and have developed some tools in myself, which I will share with you guys, which is around mental health screening and things. We will also have interactive tutorials on referral letter writing. And again, it is interactive. So it's not me going, here's a lovely letter that I wrote once. It's about me saying, here's a case, and in fact, one of you guys presenting a case, and then all of us trying to write the referral letter. Okay? And then I will interact back with you saying, okay, see how you use this language here? this is fabulous or this is a no-no. And whenever I've gone through that with practitioners, they say that is incredibly instructive because they saw it in action. They went, oh, got it. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. This is not theoretical anymore. The other topics that we'll cover are pathology. So we'll do what I call Pathology 101, which is basically orientating yourself around absolute must-knows about pathology testing. And some of those absolute must-knows, most GPs don't know them, and absolutely most naturopaths don't know them. So even though I say it's very basic, you will find that just these little gems give you an enormous step up in your comfort and confidence and competence around looking at people's blood tests, okay? So we're going to do some orientation around pathology, and then we'll do, again, an interactive tutorial on some of the most common pathology markers you will come across. Two other areas that I've got down on here as part of the curriculum include a little bit on supplement sleuthing. So it's all very well to walk out of your degree and say, this person needs magnesium and zinc, but where would I start? You know, do I give them separate magnesium and zinc? You know, what exactly, you know, how am I going to find that needle in a haystack? So I'll show you a tool that I use that can help you to find the product you were really searching for, but you didn't know existed. Okay, so we'll go through that as well. And also just a little bit on research in the real world, because up until now, you've probably been researching for a very different purpose, to write an essay, to answer a question in an exam, something like that. When you're sitting with a client and you go, never heard of this condition before, where do I start? They are great questions. So we'll go through all of those things. Where do you start with pathology that you've never heard of before? Where do you look for your reference ranges in blood test results? Where do you go to when there's not any established protocol on how to treat something? Okay, so I'm just going to give you these little pointers about really cheat tips, because that's what we all use is, well, this is the resource I would go to, this is how I interact with that, you know, that sort of thing. So they're the kind of topics that we're going to cover. All of them will be very much asking for you guys to contribute examples. What are the referral letters you've been trying to write? What are the, you know, the supplements you've been trying to find? You know, all of those sorts of things. And definitely some of your cases, we will be working on some of those cases as a platform or a vehicle to help to teach these things as well. So highly interactive, but certainly very different from our standard group mentoring, where it is just, you know, practitioner A presents client B. Okay, that's very different to what we're doing in the new grad group. Okay, a couple more things that came up with a lot of pre-submitted questions. The first thing is, so I think I've explained how it runs and the structure, and yes, you will be given a very clear structure before we kick off at the end of January. As I said, with an articulated curriculum across those 11 months. What were some of the other key questions? The burning question for everybody is, when will this run? So if you haven't done any mentoring with us before, you might not know that it is a huge undertaking for us. We curate and coordinate over 100 individuals into different groups, and we do that over the next month. So we can't say right now that we have a set day and time for you guys for the new grad group. What we can say is it's likely to be on the second last Tuesday or the second last Thursday of the month. It will be inside business hours because I don't function very well late at night. I can tell you that much. So it will be inside business hours on either the last Tuesday or the last Thursday of the month. And what happens is we come to you once you have put in your expression of interest, completed your registration form. We come to everybody who's interested in the new grad group, and we ask you to fill in an online poll, and it'll be like 3 options, and you get to say that one, not that one, maybe that one. Okay. And then we look at the consensus and we say, okay, that's what we're running with. So if in the end, the time and the day doesn't work for you, you just would choose to opt out at that point. Okay. But we really work hard at finding a good fit for the majority of people. The cost. So the cost is actually on the website. We do have a page dedicated to the new grad group. It is on the website. You can pay in quarterly installments. So there are 4 payments of $150 each, or you can pay in full at the beginning, which is $549 for the year. So it is significantly lower price point than our regular mentoring, which is around $800 for the year. So again, we've tried to introduce a lower price point because we think it is more appropriate for people who are new to practice. Additional questions that have been asked is, probably one of the burning ones is, if you got into the new grad group and then you felt that it was too basic for you, can you move to our standard group mentoring? And the answer is no. The reason being that they're different price points, all the groups are fixed, we've curated them, we've spent, as I said, a good month working those out. So we really are saying to you guys, the onus is on you to make that decision based on more information, hopefully, that you're getting today, that this is where you want to be. I have no doubt that people will get a lot out of this new grad group, and it doesn't matter that you might have been out in practice for more than a year. There are a lot of people who feel that these are the gaps that they really have. So the onus is on you to make the right choice. If at the end of today, when you've asked your questions, you're still deliberating, you can contact us, and you can certainly talk to me one-on-one if you're really still unclear. I hope the majority end up going, I've got it, I know where I need to be. But yes, it would be very, very difficult for us to transition someone out of the new grad group and into an existing standard group mentoring group. So I'm just putting it out there now that we don't want to be in the position where we have to do that. The other questions that came up were, do new grads in this new platform get access to the update and under 30? The answer is no, not just by signing up to the new grad group. What we offer the new grad group, as we offer all our mentees, is a heavily discounted subscription. So what happens is that you will be offered a 30% discount for update and under 30. What is probably important to know is that I do a lot of sharing. So I might not be sharing my update and under 30s because other people are paying for those, but, and I can see Maria nodding, I share everything else. Like I go, oh, and here's something else I developed, and oh, have this, and really I just want to do more and more of that, particularly with the new grad group in 2019. So you will be definitely loved up with resources, but the update and under 30 still is something you have to opt in for, pay a subscription for, but we do offer a discount for that, as I said, for all group mentees. I think they're the bulk of the questions that have been submitted ahead of time. One question, the last one I will say is, we've had many people ask if they could do both the new grad group and one of our existing groups. I guess there's no reason why you can't. It's really about you if you feel that that meets your needs, and I know, Maria, you're nodding because I know you feel like you're in that boat a little bit, where you've been doing group mentoring this year and you've enjoyed it, but you also feel like you want to go back a little bit and do some more gap filling and some more core competency work. So there's no reason why you can't do both groups. I don't imagine that there'll be a huge number of people that do that, but we certainly can accommodate for that. Yeah, we certainly can. And Maria, you're not the only person who's asked that. We've had, you know, a good handful of people ask the same question. Yeah. So that's enough blabbing. I'm going to come to you guys and see if you want to open up your microphone and ask specific questions that perhaps I haven't answered so far.
I actually think you've answered everything. I'm wrapped. Yeah, all the nodding, it was very good. Yeah, awesome. I'm happy with that. And so then I just speak to your admin team about potentially doing both. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. And we will, like we do with everything, probably get separate polls going. So you'll have one poll that you'll answer that says, this is when I'm available for new grad, and you'll have another poll. So you've just got to make sure that you're giving us different, that we don't end up putting you in the same group or at the same sort of time frame. That doesn't work. But yeah, absolutely, Maria, just give us send us an email and we'll work that out for you.
And then in relation to homework with the new group, how many hours would you say that you'd need on average?
So it's not going to be much. Like, the point of the homework is not to prolong the pain of our undergraduates. The point of the homework is so that everybody can get as much as they want out of it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to go, Maria, you haven't done your homework. I'm past that. I don't want to do that anymore. So really the onus is on you guys. You can do as much or as little as you want. What I would suspect is that there might be half an hour that you could do outside of the group, where you go, I am going to read that paper that she's put up and I'm going to do that little exercise that she's asked me to do. But as I said, that's totally self-directed by you guys. Yeah. And, it's just an opportunity, because I am here to go through your referral letter, as I said, for example, and go, okay, change the way you did this, or you need to dot point this, and give you that individualized feedback as well. So there's an opportunity there that you can grab if you want it.
And we'll upload that to Basecamp, and then everyone in that group will see, and you'll...
Yeah, so the thing would be, the only thing we have to think about is, as you know, is patient confidentiality. So all we would ask that you do is that we would like to share it so everybody can see it, because seeing 10 corrected letters as opposed to just yours really amplifies the learning, or you're going, aha, I've so got it. I've now seen it 10 times why she's saying don't use that word, or don't do that, or do this. So we would like it all to be public, just within your new grad group. So that means the responsibility is on you guys to remove the identifying details about the patient. That's all.
Easy. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That's all from me. I will have to go because I have.
Well, thank you.
Anyway. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I'm so looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm
great.
Thank you for organising it. It's great.
We'll catch you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Does anybody else want to open up their microphone and ask a question? I can pick on people. I'm pretty known to pick on people. I'm disappearing out of view because I'm getting a drink. Anybody else got a burning question they want to ask? Clarissa, shall I pick on you? Or you have to unmute your microphone, first of all, or I will unmute you. There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah. Hi, Rachel. I don't actually have any burning questions. I really just wanted to find out more about what was involved and how it was going to be structured. I'm actually pretty keen to do it. I've already registered.
Right.
And I think for me, it was just about, okay, so what are we actually going to be doing, and how is it going to work? And I just think listening to what you've said and answering other people's questions has actually reaffirmed the fact that I'm, super keen.
That's good. That's great.
And the new grad program is perfect for me. I literally have just graduated, just this week. So,
oh my God, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I haven't got my transcript yet. I'm so new.
That's so exciting.
So, yeah. So it's perfect timing for me. And yeah, so no, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. And I do think that, you know, because when I left, I've got to speak from my own experience, when I left Southern School, you know, I had such a great cohort of people. This is a long time ago, but you miss them. You leave and you go, well, my supervisor's not here anymore. And, you know, and I have contact with some of those people that I went through with, but this platform is the idea that you keep this kind of group support going, and then, you know, you end up not just with me on your team, but you end up with 20 others on your team that you go, I really can be confident about bouncing ideas off these people and asking for help, and they're going to, you know, reciprocate. They're going to be good at answering and also come to me for help as well. It's a nice way to emerge into this profession, I think.
Yeah, I think it's great because you just sort of leave, you're like, I'm finished, and I'm like, well, okay, so how do I start now? Start saying to people, like, okay, I have the knowledge, but, you know, I just think that a bit of support to start off with is a very good idea. So
yeah, great. Really good. All right, fantastic. And Tony and Kelly, any questions from you guys at all? Have I answered them all?
Okay, unfortunately, I missed the start of this.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think you probably did answer some questions and I've missed it.
Well, feel free to ask. If you've got a question, you can ask now. That's no problem.
Yeah, so I think for me, Rachel, so, you know, I've been doing your mentoring sessions this year. And I've been practicing now for a year.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, I've just been sort of sitting on the fence in that I feel like there's probably parts of this that I would find really beneficial, but I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot where I'm like, oh, I've kind of myself over the last year because I've just had to. Yeah, so I guess that, I mean, I wish this had been here a year ago.
I know, we didn't know. We so didn't know. You know, we just got such an influx. I was saying before you joined, Kelly, we got such an influx of new graduates this year, in 2018, that we hadn't really had previously. And, you know, we thought, okay, well, we'll put everybody in groups of people that are similarly matched, but it really became apparent as the year went on that it was different learning that was needed, if that makes sense. And it was like, oh, okay, well, we can't change horses midstream. We just got to vow to do better next year and improve upon that.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, I think maybe you and I have a conversation one-on-one and just nut it out a little bit more about where you feel like it might be treading over old ground.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
perfect.
Yeah, I think that would be really good, because did you hear the list of things that I said we're going to go through? And some of those you definitely have been through by example in your standard group, but not actually have had your hand held through them, like the mind maps and referral letter writing and pathology and those sort of things. So we do have And
I have been doing those things for obviously a while now.
Yeah.
Where I am is I'm like, but could I be doing it better?
And I think that's the question that I have too. I know that I was just saying to Maria before, there's about, at a guess, 5, 6 of you guys from this year who are definitely talking about moving to new grad. And I don't think that's a bad idea. I can see that, as you say, learning on the hop is one thing, and you really, deserve points for having done that. But could you be learning something, or could those tools be you know, their power be really increased if we went back and held your hand a little bit more through how to use them and that sort of thing. So I'm still really happy to have a conversation with you one-on-one and just flesh it out a little bit more. But I think that the teaching style is going to be very different.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd really welcome that. I think, and maybe you can just, this might help. Do you want me to wrap up?
No, not at all. I was giving Clarissa a wave at the same time because she has to go. I was multitasking. Keep going, Kelly.
So this is probably the one that I'm finding 1 year in, that this is where I'm at and what I'm finding difficult. So it'd be good to know if this is specifically covered well, I guess, in this graduate program, is trying to now set up alliances and relationships with other. So like today I was on the phone to a gynecologist, for example, just to develop that relationship. But you know, GPs and that's tricky. That I'm finding that tricky.
I'm putting it on the list, Kelly. It's going on my very official, these are things we need to cover for the new grads. Look, it is tricky, I think. And I think one of the things that we said in one of our blog posts about the new grad group, there are some things that I can definitely give you a hand up with and we could shortcut your development process dramatically. And there are some things that will take time. And I think forming alliances sounds very survivorish, doesn't it? But I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. You know, developing those interdisciplinary networks, it's a long process. It's not to say that I can't give you advice to help that, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. That's for sure. Even for the best of us, it doesn't happen overnight.
Confidence to approach these people in the first place. And, which, I mean, well, as of today, I've just decided to bite the bullet and just do it.
Yeah.
With some people, but it's tricky because you're new, and I don't proclaim to be an expert. Do you know what I mean? I'm still learning, and
absolutely.
I don't want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I know all this stuff, but it's more that it's like, I've got these great clients. They need me and other professional personalities, and I just want us to work together.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work out how that can happen.
Yeah. Look, I really understand what you're saying, and I also think that the point that you raise is really important, because I do want to clarify from the outset that the new grad group is not about it's not about business mentoring, and I know that's not what you're asking.
Not yet.
But I think it's a really good. You've just reminded me that I need to say that out loud. Yeah. So it's not about business development per se or business structure or anything like that, because I think there are other forums for that. Sure. And I think that how we run the program will absolutely improve your business, but we're coming in it from a different angle. We're not talking about business structure. We're talking about confidence, competency, better improved patient management, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I really like what you're putting on the table, Kelly, about, okay, it's all very well to write a referral letter. You've kind of gone to the next lily pad and gone, well, what if I want to actually not just write referral letters to random, people that my patients happen to be seeing? What if I want to consciously strike up a relationship with another health professional?
Yeah. So I guess that's where I'm at. Because, for example, like I have been writing referral letters, I guess, for a year now.
Yep.
And some are received, and it's been quite interesting because that has evolved a lot. Like I get the first letters that I wrote and go, oh my
God. Yeah. You should see the ones I wrote 20 years ago.
you know, to what I'm writing now, and just that interesting learning curve of how they're received.
Yeah.
You know, some are just like, you know, they don't want to have anything to do with me, and they just completely dismiss it, to others who are like, oh, this is great. And yeah. So
Kelly, is it, I think it's important for you to know that I get some doctors who will not give me the time of day. Really, seriously. I get doctors who, and I don't say that seriously as an arrogance point of view, I say it as a hilarity point of view, because I get doctors who go, let me define evidence-based medicine for you. And I go, well, that's funny, because that's one of the things that I co-authored in a book about, but, you know, I don't say any of that. But I want to say that to you so that you know that it wouldn't matter how long you've been in practice, it wouldn't matter how good you are, it wouldn't matter how accepted even you are by certain doctors. There will always be some who go, here's my palm, that says stop, don't come anywhere near me. And it's just about their closed-mindedness. And, you know, you wouldn't bother fighting that battle. You really wouldn't. So, you know, no one I know, I've got a hilarious story from Jason Horolac.
Yeah.
Hilarious story. It wasn't hilarious at the time, when he got a pushback from a doctor, where the doctor told his patient something absolutely outrageously rude, you know, about who's this kind of chakra balancing fish slapper, what would he know, kind of, you know, that was the connotation. What would this guy know about your gut? You know, we're all going, oh my God. So you never get to a point where you're never going to get a rejection. You never get to a point where you're known by everybody and you have 100% strike rate, you know, success rate. Jason will tell you that. I'll tell you that. Leah Heckman will tell you that.
Yeah.
So the first thing is normalize that and move on from those people that you're never going to win over. But the other point, the people in the middle who, you know, could be great resources for you, for your patients, they're the ones that I'm hearing you would love to understand something more about how to interact with them and how to win them over. And I certainly have lots of ideas about that. Yeah. But it's a really pertinent point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I completely hijacked question.
No. I think it's a great point. And it's so important, because I did think, yes, need to clarify, I'm not going to talk to anybody about how to run their accounting better, because I know nothing about accounting or, you know, other elements of business. That's not what the purpose is. But what you're describing there, it is relevant, isn't it? It's really relevant to how we practice and how we care for our patients. Because who else is on that team?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I've been at, and maybe where things are getting with my clients.
Yeah.
When I've sent a referral letter and they've gone off to their GP who they've been seeing for ages, and the GP's like, oh, you know, almost insulted that a naturopath could suggest, you know, some testing needed to be done. And then, of course, my clients are coming back and going, well, what do we do? Like, who do I go see? Is there someone else?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, now I want to develop where I can go, yes, actually, go and
Yeah. So the best kind of, well, not necessarily the best scenario, but one scenario is with a lot of people I've mentored, they've ended up just flipping the relationship entirely. Okay. So what do I mean by that is they have doctors that want to work with them.
Yeah.
Right. And why that happens is because these naturopaths are very busy, very competent people who go, you know, I could be sending some clients your way. Right. The relationship gets reversed. And I've seen that roll out over and over again. These are practices that I've been mentoring for quite some time. I'm not saying I am the reason behind that, but I know that's part of what we've worked on is the way that they're interacting, and being able to present yourself as a potential resource really to the other health professionals, and say, one, I can feed clients to you, which everybody wants, and two, you know, those difficult clients that you don't know what to do with, or that need dietary help and you can't do it in 7 minutes.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going to be your best asset.
Yeah.
So it's flipping that relationship. It's not that you're trying to talk anybody into working with you. It's that you start to present as, look at how I can help you.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah.
So we will definitely, now it's on the list. My list means everything. It's on the list now that you mentioned that. Thinking, right, we'll need an activity around that as well. But I think that that's a great one, certainly, to include. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So I will still, Kelly, if you want to talk later, you can contact me and have a conversation. And anybody who's listening to this recording who goes, I'm still not clear, just email us. The idea about this recording was it probably answered 90% of questions for 90% of people, but we do understand that there may still be a little bit of individualising that needs to happen. So email us at admin@rachelarthur.com.au. It's in your chat box if you've got still some lingering doubt or questions, and I'm really happy to try and help you sort that out. As I said, this is a self-selected group. You know, we're really putting the onus on you guys to choose the right group, but we're here to help all the way along. So, you know, just call on us if you need that help. So unless anybody else has got any other burning questions, we will leave it there, but do get in contact with us. We're super, super excited about next year. I think really it's my old frustrated clinic supervisor self re-emerging. So a lot of people did have me as a clinic supervisor about 10 years ago. And I think it's coming back with a vengeance. I think it's going to be such an exciting program, because it's kind of that stepping stone that's missing between the graduating and the, you know, really swimming, I think is hopefully the bridge we're going to build in there. So, yeah. So thank you so much for joining me today and having some of your questions answered. Do get in contact if you need to. And I really hope I get to see all of your smiley faces. Yes, we'll have all the videos up and running for our group sessions next year. So I get to see all of your smiley faces next year in our new grad program or in our standard group mentoring program. So I will catch you at some point, I'm sure. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.